Dismissal. The Archon-class vessel of the Galactic Confederation drifted silently through the void, its crystalline sensors scanning the anomaly that had appeared on their long-range detection grid. High Admiral Zextar, a veteran of countless first-contact scenarios, watched the holographic display with his 4 eyes narrowed in concentration. The object that had caught their attention was massive, yet crude by Confederation standards, a behemoth of metal and composite materials that lumbered through space with what appeared to be primitive chemical propulsion. Preliminary analysis complete, High Admiral, announced Senior Analyst Vrika, her tentacles dancing across the bioorganic interface. The vessel appears to be of Class D construction, originating from the Sol system, human-made. A ripple of amusement passed through the command bridge. The humans, barely a century into their space age, had managed to construct something of this scale. It was almost endearing, like watching a child stack blocks into a crude approximation of architecture. Interesting, Zextar mused, his scaled skin shifting colors in thought. They've managed to build something this large without destroying themselves. Show me the weapon systems analysis. The holographic display shifted, revealing what appeared to be weapon emplacements across the vessel's hull. To the Confederation's advanced sensors, they might as well have been pointing sticks. Kinetic weapons, chemical explosives, and what appeared to be primitive energy projectors. They call it the UES Prometheus, Vrika continued. Their first interstellar supercarrier. It's currently on what they term a peaceful exploration mission. She couldn't quite keep the condescension from her voice. Zextar rose from his command pod, his towering frame casting shadows across the bridge. Send the standard greeting package. Let's see how these humans respond to proper civilization. The greeting package was a standard Confederation protocol, a complex burst of quantum-encoded data that would overwhelm most primitive communication systems, demonstrating their technological superiority while simultaneously establishing diplomatic contact. It was designed to put younger races in their place while offering them a chance to submit to Confederation guidance. The response they received was unexpected. Instead of the usual confusion or garbled attempts at communication, the human vessel maintained perfect silence. Its enormous form simply continued its steady course, energy readings remaining constant. They're ignoring us. Zextar's scales shifted to a deep purple of annoyance. How typically primitive. Perhaps they need a more direct demonstration of proper protocol. He authorized a warning shot, a precision-guided pulse of quantum energy that would pass close enough to the human vessel to be detected, but far enough to avoid any actual damage. It was a dance the Confederation had performed countless times with emerging civilizations. The pulse launched from the Archon-class vessel, a beautiful arc of purple energy that curved gracefully through space. But as it approached the human supercarrier, something impossible happened. The pulse didn't pass harmlessly by as calculated. Instead, it simply vanished. Sensor malfunction, Zextar demanded, all 4 eyes fixed on the display. No, High Admiral. Vrika's tentacles were working frantically across her interface. The pulse was absorbed. But that's impossible. Their technology shouldn't be capable of. She never finished her sentence. The human vessel's primitive hull began to shift, plates sliding and realigning in ways that defied the Confederation's understanding of metallurgy. What they had dismissed as crude weapon emplacements were transforming, revealing systems that weren't registering on any known technological scale. High Admiral, Vrika's voice had lost all trace of condescension, replaced by something approaching awe. We're detecting energy signatures that shouldn't be possible with their level of development. Zextar watched as the UES Prometheus seemed to wake up, its true nature revealing itself. The vessel they had dismissed as primitive was morphing before their eyes, and suddenly the High Admiral understood their critical error. They had mistaken simplicity for primitiveness, efficiency for crudeness. Send a priority alert to command, Zextar ordered, his scales now a pale shade of concern. The humans, they're not what we thought they were. But before the message could be sent, Every system on the Confederation vessel went dark. In the sudden silence, they could feel a low vibration through the hull, a subsonic rumble that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Then, a simple text message appeared on their emergency displays, written in perfect Confederation standard. "Greetings from humanity. Shall we try this introduction again?" The message hung there in the darkness, and for the first time in his long career, High Admiral Zexstar felt something he had never experienced before, the humbling realization that the Confederation might not be as advanced as they had always believed. The humans hadn't built a primitive supercarrier. They had created something that defied Confederation understanding, and they had done it right under everyone's noses. The lesson was clear. Appearances could be deceiving, and humanity was anything but primitive. The awakening giant. In the heart of the Confederation's Central Command, alarms blared across multiple dimensions of spacetime. The loss of contact with High Admiral Zexstar's vessel had triggered an automatic response protocol. But what truly terrified the Confederation's leadership wasn't the silence. It was the data packet that had arrived moments before communication was lost. Supreme Commander Ixel, their most decorated military leader, studied the sensor readings with growing unease. The baseline signature of the human vessel, designated UES Prometheus, had completely transformed. What they had initially dismissed as primitive metallurgy was revealing itself to be something else entirely. "Impossible," muttered Chief Scientist Naira, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns of distress. "The whole composition is shifting. It's not just metamorphic metals. It's something more fundamental. They're manipulating matter at the quantum level, but with none of the expected energy signatures." The massive display chamber showed multiple angles of the Prometheus as it completed its transformation. Gone was the seemingly crude exterior, replaced by a seamless integration of technologies that defied Confederation classification. The vessel now pulsed with a quiet energy that their most advanced sensors struggled to quantify. "Show me the historical data," Ixel commanded. "Everything we have on human technological development." The displays shifted, showing a timeline of human advancement. What emerged was a pattern that had been hiding in plain sight. While the Confederation had been watching for quantum leaps in technology, humanity had taken a different approach, one of subtle, iterative improvements that masked their true capabilities. They never made the same technological jumps we did, Naira realized, her crystalline structure vibrating with excitement. They didn't discover quantum manipulation and abandon traditional engineering. They merged them. Every primitive system on that ship is a sophisticated hybrid of multiple technological approaches. Before they could digest this revelation, a new signal cut through their secured channels. The face that appeared on their screens was human, a woman with dark skin and silver-flecked hair, wearing what appeared to be a simple naval uniform. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Prometheus," she announced, her voice carrying an authority that transcended species. "I believe we got off on the wrong foot with your advance vessel. High Admiral Zexstar is unharmed, but we felt it necessary to demonstrate that humanity is ready for a more equal dialogue." Supreme Commander Ixel's protective carapace bristled. "You disabled one of our most advanced vessels." "Disabled is a strong word," Chen replied with a slight smile. "We simply helped it achieve its full potential. Your ship's quantum matrix is now operating at 300% of its previous efficiency." High Admiral Zexstar seems quite impressed. As if on cue, the Archon-class vessel reappeared on their sensors, but its energy signature had changed. It was running cleaner, faster, better, transformed by human engineering in ways the Confederation had never thought possible. "How?" Naira demanded, her scientific curiosity overriding protocol. "Your species hasn't even mastered unified field theory." Captain Chen's smile widened slightly. "We mastered it 30 years ago. We just approached it differently. You see, while the Confederation sought to bend the universe to its will through brute force manipulation of quantum states, humanity learned to work with existing universal principles. We didn't create new physical laws. We found better ways to work with the ones that already existed. The implications were staggering. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship, it was a testament to human innovation. Every system that the Confederation had dismissed as primitive was actually an elegant solution that worked with the natural laws of the universe rather than against them. Your weapons, Ixel observed, they're not really weapons at all, are they? Some are, Chen acknowledged. But most are tools of transformation. Why destroy when you can improve? The same principles that allowed us to enhance your vessel's efficiency could be applied to so much more. We're not here to fight. Supreme Commander, we're here to share what we've learned. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't built a supercarrier to wage war. They had created a vessel of change, capable of transforming and improving everything it encountered. The Prometheus wasn't named after the mythological figure who stole fire from the gods. It was named after the one who gave fire to humanity. Your ship, Naira whispered, her crystalline form shimmering with realization. It's not just a vessel. It's a catalyst. Precisely, Chen confirmed. And now that we've demonstrated our capabilities, perhaps we can discuss the real reason we ventured into Confederation space. We believe there are threats coming that neither of us can face alone. Threats that will require both our approaches to survive. The Supreme Commander and Chief Scientist exchanged glances. The humans hadn't just appended their understanding of technology. They had fundamentally challenged the Confederation's entire approach to existence. And now they were offering cooperation in the face of some greater danger. As if to emphasize the point, the Prometheus began transmitting detailed scans of something massive moving at the edges of known space, something that made both Confederation leaders feel a deep primal fear. The game of technological one-upmanship had just become irrelevant in the face of survival itself. Tables turned. The Confederation's Emergency Council chamber had never seen such a diverse gathering. Alongside the crystalline forms of the Naira species and the towering carapaces of the military elite sat human representatives, their seemingly fragile forms belying their species' capabilities. Captain Chen sat at the center of the human delegation, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the tension filling the room. The entity, as we've designated it, was first detected by our deep space arrays 3 years ago, Chen explained, manipulating a holographic display that the humans had seamlessly integrated with Confederation technology. The image showed a mass of impossible geometry, a thing that seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist. High Admiral Zextar, now returned and notably humbled, leaned forward. And you're certain it's headed toward populated space? Not just headed. It's accelerating, confirmed Dr. Marcus Wong, the Prometheus's chief scientist. But that's not what concerns us most. Show them, Sarah. Captain Chen nodded and expanded the display. The entity's path through space appeared as a burning line of distorted reality. Behind it, stars were different, not destroyed, not dead, but fundamentally altered in ways that defied both human and Confederation physics. It's not just traveling through space, Chen explained. It's rewriting the basic laws of physics in its wake. Conventional weapons, whether human or Confederation, will be useless. In altered space, they simply won't function as intended. Supreme Commander Ixel's carapace shifted colors in agitation. Then we evacuate. Move populations deeper into stable space. That's not an option, Dr. Wong interrupted, pulling up new projections. The entity's effect is expanding exponentially. Within 6 months, there won't be any stable space left in this arm of the galaxy. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices and electromagnetic pulses of distress. Captain Chen waited for the chaos to subside before speaking again. However, she said, her voice cutting through the panic, we believe we've found a solution, or rather, the beginning of one. She gestured to the Prometheus, visible through the chamber's transparent walls as it orbited the Confederation capital. Our ship's adaptive technology doesn't just work with existing physical laws, it can learn and adjust to new ones. The revelation hit the chamber like a physical force. Naira's crystalline form vibrated with sudden understanding. That's why you built it this way. You knew this was coming. We suspected something like it might, Chen confirmed. Humanity's approach to technology has always been shaped by our awareness of our own limitations. We couldn't match the Confederation's mastery of quantum mechanics, so we developed systems that could adapt instead. Now that adaptability might be our greatest weapon. But one ship cannot face this threat alone, Zextar observed, his earlier condescension replaced by genuine respect. No, Chen agreed, which is why we're proposing something unprecedented. The Prometheus carries our most advanced manufacturing and adaptation systems. With your permission, we want to begin immediately upgrading the entire Confederation fleet. The silence that followed was deafening. What the humans were proposing wasn't just cooperation, it was a complete integration of their technologies, a merging of approaches that would fundamentally change both civilizations. There's more, Dr. Wong added, his expression grave. We've analyzed the entity's pattern of space-time distortion. It's not random. There's intelligence behind it. Purpose. We believe it's not just changing our reality. It's transforming it into something more suitable for itself. The implications were staggering. They weren't just facing an invasion. They were facing an attempted renovation of reality itself. How long? Ixel demanded. To upgrade the fleet, with the Prometheus's capabilities and Confederation resources, 3 months, Chen responded. To develop an effective counter to the entity. That depends on how well our civilizations can truly work together. As if to emphasize the urgency, the main display suddenly shifted, showing new data from the edge of monitored space. The entity had accelerated again, its wake of altered physics expanding faster than any model had predicted. Time to contact with populated systems is now 4 months, Dr. Wong announced grimly. The chamber fell silent again, but this time it was different. The fear was still there, but it was being replaced by something else. Determination. The Confederation leaders looked at their human counterparts with new understanding. Humanity's primitive approach to technology hadn't been primitive at all. It had been preparation for exactly this kind of crisis. How do we begin? Ixel asked, speaking for all of them. Captain Chen smiled, but it was a serious expression. We start with the fundamental principle that's guided human engineering since our beginning. Adaptation isn't just about survival. It's about finding new ways to thrive in changing conditions. The entity is trying to change our reality. Fine. Let's show it that we can change faster. Around the Prometheus, the massive Confederation fleet began to gather. Each ship, representing the pinnacle of quantum engineering, would soon be transformed by human innovation. The coming battle wouldn't be fought with conventional weapons or tactics. It would be fought with adaptability, creativity, and the combined ingenuity of two civilizations that had finally learned to see past their differences. The war for reality itself was about to begin. Understanding humanity. The Confederation shipyards had never seen anything like it. Massive vessels hung in synchronized orbit, their quantum crystalline hulls now interwoven with human adaptive technology. The UEA's Prometheus moved among them like a conductor leading an orchestra, each touch transforming Confederation ships into hybrid vessels that defied traditional classification. In the central manufacturing hub, Dr. Wong stood before a holographic representation of the altered space left in the entity's wake, his expression intense as he explained the latest findings to a mixed team of human and Confederation scientists. The key isn't fighting the changes, he explained, manipulating the display to show the complex wave functions of altered reality. It's learning to exist within them while maintaining our own integrity. Watch this. He pulled up footage from their latest test. A small probe, enhanced with human adaptive technology and Confederation quantum systems, entered a zone of altered physics. Instead of failing like previous attempts, it shifted and transformed, its very structure reorganizing to function within the new laws of reality. Remarkable. Naira breathed, her crystalline form pulsing with excitement. The probe didn't just survive, It found a way to thrive in conditions that should have been impossible. That's the human element, Captain Chen added, entering the hub with Supreme Commander Ixel. We've always understood that survival isn't about being the strongest or most advanced. It's about being able to change when change is needed. The display shifted to show the entity's current position. It had consumed 3 uninhabited star systems, leaving behind spaces where the familiar laws of physics were more like suggestions than rules. But now they could see patterns in the chaos, understanding emerging from what had seemed like random destruction. It's not just changing reality, Ixel observed, his military training finding order in the apparent disorder. It's testing different configurations, like it's searching for something specific. Exactly, Chen confirmed. And that gives us an advantage. The entity isn't mindlessly destructive. It has a goal. If we can understand that goal, we might be able to redirect it, or even communicate with it. Dr. Wang brought up new data streams showing the progress of the fleet's transformation. The integration of human adaptive systems with Confederation quantum technology has exceeded our expectations. Each ship is now essentially a reality anchor, capable of maintaining a bubble of stable space-time while adapting to changes beyond it. But it was what he showed next that caused a stir among the gathered leaders. The enhanced ships weren't just defending against reality changes. They were learning from them, each encounter with altered space adding to their understanding and capabilities. The fleet isn't just surviving encounters with altered space, Chen explained, pride evident in her voice. It's evolving. Each ship is becoming more adept at navigating these impossible conditions, and they're sharing what they learn with each other in real time. Naira's form shimmered with sudden understanding. You've turned our fleet into a distributed learning network. Each ship is like a neuron in a vast, space-faring brain. Another human principle, Dr. Wang nodded. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Individual adaptation is powerful, but networked adaptation, that's how you change the game entirely. The chamber's displays updated again, showing the entity's progress. It had changed course slightly, as if sensing the preparations being made to meet it. But now they could see something else in its movements, hesitation. It knows we're coming, Ixel stated, his tactical mind racing with possibilities. It can sense the changes we're making to local space. Good, Chen replied firmly. Let it know. Let it understand that this reality isn't undefended, that there are beings here who won't simply submit to its renovations. The human Confederation hybrid fleet was nearly ready. Each ship now carried within it the best of both civilizations. The raw power and precision of Confederation quantum engineering merged with the adaptive resilience of human technology. But more importantly, they carried something else, a shared determination to protect their corner of existence. In the space around them, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. The entity's wake of altered physics continued to spread, but now it would meet something unprecedented, a fleet that could dance through impossible spaces, learning and adapting with each step of the cosmic ballet. Dr. Wang studied the latest simulations with intense focus. The real question isn't whether we can survive in altered space anymore. It's whether we can use these changes to our advantage. Every reality the entity creates is a new set of rules for us to learn and exploit. Captain Chen smiled, remembering humanity's long history of turning adversity into opportunity. That's exactly what we're going to do. The entity thinks it's preparing the space for itself. Let's show it that we can adapt faster than it can change things. The assembled leaders watched as the first wave of hybrid ships moved into position. The battle for reality itself was about to begin, and humanity's greatest gift to the Confederation hadn't been technology. It had been a new way of thinking about existence itself. The entity was about to learn that changing reality wasn't enough. Not when your opponents could change with it, learn from it, and perhaps even master it in ways its own vast intelligence had never considered. The hunt was on. A new era dawns. The border between normal and altered space shimmered like an aurora stretching across the cosmos. Before it, the combined human Confederation fleet hung in perfect formation, each vessel a testament to the unprecedented cooperation between two civilizations that had once viewed each other with dismissive skepticism. Captain Chen stood on the Prometheus's bridge, now staffed by both human and Confederation crew members. The ship's adaptive systems had evolved far beyond their original design, incorporating Confederation quantum technology in ways that even their creators hadn't anticipated. "Entity has crossed the Helios threshold," announced Dr. Wong from his station, where crystalline displays merged seamlessly with human holographic interfaces. "Time to intercept, 15 minutes. High Admiral Zextar, who had chosen to join the Prometheus's crew for this final confrontation, studied the tactical displays with all four eyes. "Its pattern has changed. It's moving more purposefully now. It knows we're here," Chen confirmed, her expression determined. "And it knows we're different from anything it's encountered before." Launch the probe array. Across the fleet, hundreds of advanced probes deployed, each one carrying the combined sensors of both civilizations. They spread out in a complex geometric pattern, creating a vast web of observation and analysis around the approaching entity. "Probes in position," Naira reported from her science station. "Beginning deep scan of entity's reality manipulation field." The data that flooded back was staggering. The entity wasn't just changing the laws of physics, it was testing different configurations, like a vast cosmic algorithm seeking an optimal solution. But for what? "There," Dr. Wong suddenly exclaimed, his fingers dancing across his console. "In the pattern variations, it's not random at all. These are maintenance protocols." The revelation hit the bridge crew like a physical force. Chen leaned forward, understanding dawning in her eyes. "It's not an invader," she breathed. "It's a repair system." The entity's massive form drew closer, its impossible geometry shifting through dimensions that shouldn't exist. But now they could see the purpose behind its movements, the logic in its reality alterations. "The universe is dying," Naira announced, her crystalline form vibrating with excitement and fear. "Not now. Not soon, but eventually. The entity, it's trying to prevent that by rewriting the laws of physics themselves. But its changes are too extreme," Zextar observed. "It would destroy all existing life in the process of saving the universe." Chen stood, her decision made. "Then let's show it another way. All ships, initiate adaptation protocol Omega. Dr. Wong, prepare the quantum bridge." The fleet moved as one, their hybrid systems powering up in perfect synchronization. The Prometheus led the formation, its adaptive technology now evolved far beyond its original specifications. They weren't going to fight the entity, they were going to communicate with it. "Quantum bridge established," Wong reported. "Beginning transmission of alternate solutions." Through the combined power of human adaptability and Confederation quantum mastery, they began broadcasting their own calculations, showing the entity that there were ways to preserve the universe without destroying what already existed within it. The human concept of gradual adaptation merged with Confederation precision to demonstrate a path of subtle adjustments rather than wholesale renovation. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, nothing happened. The entity continued its approach, reality warping around it. Then suddenly, it stopped. The vast intelligence began to respond, not with violence or resistance, but with curiosity. Its reality alterations shifted, becoming more refined, more precise. It was learning from them, just as they had learned to adapt to its changes. "It's working," Naira announced, her voice filled with wonder. "The entity is adjusting its protocols. It's accepting our suggestions." Before their eyes, the zones of altered physics began to shift. Instead of wholesale changes that would have obliterated existing life, the adjustments became subtle, almost elegant. The entity was implementing their combined solution, strengthening the fundamental forces of the universe without destroying what had evolved within it. "All ships, maintain position," Chen ordered, watching as reality itself was gently reshaped around them. "Continue broadcasting the adaptation protocols." Hours passed as the entity worked, its vast intelligence now focused on preservation rather than reconstruction. When it finally finished, it had left behind not a transformed universe, but an enhanced one where the laws of physics had been subtly reinforced against eventual entropy. Entity is retreating, Wam reported, watching as the vast being began to withdraw. But it's leaving something behind, some kind of interface. Chen smiled, not retreating, giving us space, and leaving us the tools to continue its work, but in our own way. She turned to address the mixed crew of humans and Confederation members. It wasn't a battle we needed to win. It was a collaboration we needed to forge. The entity disappeared into deep space, but its legacy remained. A universe slightly more stable than before, and two civilizations forever changed by their encounter with it. The Confederation had learned the value of human adaptability, while humanity had gained access to technologies they had never dreamed possible. So what now? Zextar asked, looking out at the starfield that somehow seemed brighter than before. Now, Chen replied, her eyes fixed on the future. Now we continue what we started. The entity showed us that the universe needs custodians, not conquerors. Together, we can be both its guardians and its gardeners, helping it evolve without destroying what makes it beautiful. The human Confederation fleet began its journey home, but they were no longer separate species working together out of necessity. They had become something new. Pioneers of a future where adaptation and advancement went hand in hand, where the strongest force in the universe wasn't power or technology, but the ability to change while preserving what mattered most. The age of division was over. The age of unified evolution had begun.